Ian Lavery may say that he has his tax affairs in order. He may well indeed. But if Dan Needle thinks that there are questions to be answered, and Dan Needle thought there were questions to be answered with Mr. Zahawi, then undoubtedly there are. And for Lavery to then turn round and say that it would be preposterous to draw any parallels between his tax affairs and those of Mr. Zahawi, well, I'm afraid he needs to look at himself carefully in the mirror and he needs to reflect. The tax problem is not about the size of one's, or the scope, the hugeness of the amount. It's about the failure to be honest and upfront. Now, anybody can make a mistake. It's very easy to make a mistake. And the tax system is extremely complex and it's very difficult to get in touch with HMRC and so on. But, you know, we shouldn't be surprised that after the Zahawi issue, other MPs find that their tax is now scrutinised more carefully. This is the can of worms that has been opened. The can of worms has been opened, and I don't think it's about the Conservatives are worse than the Labour Party. I think it's that there is a culture. There is a culture of greed and elitism that runs through Westminster, and it needs to be stamped on, and it needs to be reformed. We need a reformed Westminster. It's not a matter of one side is better than the other at this particular issue, and in fact at many issues. It's about elitism, and that is not who represents me. I'm not represented by some sort of elite that cannot be bothered to answer its letters, that cannot be bothered to do its jobs, that thinks it's better than everybody else. I expect to be answered. I expect to be dealt with. I expect to be represented. That's why I'm involved in electing somebody. If they're going to sit over in Westminster and lord it over me, they might as well be in the House of Lords. And frankly, the House of Lords do better at answering mail than many of the people in the House of Commons. We need to think again about what being in the House of Commons means before we start thinking about clearing out the House of Lords, which actually does a jolly good job. As anybody who will know, if you are campaigning about something and you can't get an answer from a minister, you can't get an answer with any timely effect from your own MP, write to a member of the House of Lords, and I promise you will get letters within the next week. I promise.